Welcome to the Signal Pres podcast.
Welcome to the Signal Pres podcast, the place for you to learn, to grow, and to get connected to the body of Christ here at Signal Pres. I'm Joey Sherrod. I am one of your hosts.
And I am Abby Hutto. I am also one of your hosts.
What
demoted
happened?
Myself.
What? You resigned?
As co-host, yes. I'm just going to be one of your hosts.
What did you, was it?
The responsibility was just too
much.
great. I was laying awake at night, worried about it.
It was, I mean, when Jesse sent you that new job description, it was pretty over.
For 2 wonderful episodes, I was your co-host.
That's
but
right.
It's just, it's just too hard to say.
I hope, the pay bump was significant enough that you're enjoying it,
Yeah.
I'm sure you had
just
an
know that
extra taco.
I consider myself your co-host.
At White Duck Taco on Tuesday night for the birthday party that happened there. Well,
right.
It sounds like you feel sort of a weight off your shoulders. In the Sherrod household, the same is true. My son, one son graduated, one son just finished his last exam. Like, I just got a text message about
Summer
that.
started.
So things feel a bit lighter around here. Probably
Yes,
also
they do.
because we just finished an incredible sermon series on Galatians. And you know who we have with us on the podcast today?
Tell us, Joey.
We have the person who preached the majority of the sermon. It's Scott Bowen. Don't
steal his thunder.
we have a we have a mystique to preserve.
I know. He likes to be the one to say who's on the podcast.
Well, I always ask you and you never answer.
I didn't know I could.
You can.
Okay, guys, it's
You
Scott
can.
Bowen.
It's Scott Bowen on the podcast. Woo!
Thanks for having me.
Welcome back again. Most repeated guest. It's like, I guess on Saturday Night Live, don't you get like a jacket or something?
You should get a blazer. We should
Five-timers
give
jacket.
him like a blazer that looks like he won the Masters.
That's right.
For being here.
The green
so
jacket.
many times.
Exactly. No one would want to wear it because it's a little muggy in the studio.
It's
today.
very muggy today.
Anyways.
Yeah, and I had breakfast at Pruitt's this morning, and I sat out on the porch, but they had all of the things down, so then it just felt like you were sitting in a wet, muggy sauna.
Yeah.
It was gross.
This is like the first of like 10 consecutive days of rain or something like that. So we're going to be at like 150% humidity by the time the sun comes out again.
Oh, boy.
Scott, thanks for joining us.
Of course.
So we have Scott on. We're going to talk about where we've been. We're going to talk about where we're going. We're going to talk about summer reading. We're going to talk about officer nominations. We're going to talk about
so
it
many
all.
things. Now that we have a captive moment with Scott, we're going to ask him all the things.
Those studio door locks from the outside. So Scott, Philip actually just finished our sermon series on Galatians for us. But I'd just be curious for you and really for all of us just to think about as we draw that book to a close, which we started sometime in January. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah. Like as you reflect back on the time in Galatians, what sort of stands out to you, whether it was certain passages that we went through or certain themes that emerged from it? What do you, as you look back on Galatians, what are you thinking about?
Sure.
You too, Abby.
Well, I think the title was something along freedom was in the name, was in that slide we had up there every week, right? And so I hope the idea of what real freedom looks like, what real Christian freedom is, the gift and the privilege of that, I hope that got nailed home. It did to me, I think. And then, but you couple that with like those last couple of chapters, I think I found, I hope it's not just recency bias, but those last couple of chapters so helpful that in this letter that so clearly trumpets the wonders of Christian freedom, it ends with this very clear call to obedience and conformity to Jesus, and that those two are not at all contradictory, but freedom means free to live that life, and to live that life not by our own bootstraps, but by the power of the Spirit within us. And so holding those two things together, I hope, is something that we'll all be encouraged to do.
Yeah.
I feel like every time I've looked at Galatians, I've focused more on like the idols of my heart and looking at like, what do I need to let go of? And I think this round going through, it was so freeing to think about like but the Spirit is the one who produces life in me and produces the character of Christ in me. Because I think I've thought about like, well, I need the Spirit's help to let go of my idols, but then I got to try really, really hard to be like Jesus. And so like this, it just struck me this time through, like, I felt like y'all brought that out a lot, that like, in the same way that I cannot save myself, also it is the Spirit of God in me who is conforming me to the image of Christ. And that's just such a relief in so many ways.
Right.
Yeah.
What about you, Joey?
Yeah, I think I am just consistently struck every time I go back to a book like Galatians. I think both how quickly I forget the truth of the gospel and live, out of line with it. That's, I guess, like Galatians 2:14, that when Peter is, he stops living in line with the gospel. And also just how refreshing and renewing it is just to hear that message again. So I've just reminded again my continual need to be renewed by this message and how good it is and how unbelievable it is and how often I deviate from it kind of in my day to day. So I'm glad we spent our time in this book. We're moving on. Well, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to ask, it's kind of like your exit interview.
Yeah.
Exiting out of Galatians. What do you hope, as you think about our people, like what is the thing that you're like, oh, I really hope that they hold on to this moving forward, coming out of Galatians?
I think it is a lot of what you just said, Abby, about that there really is a Spirit, the Spirit, alive in us as believers, doing this work of renewal and transformation within us, and that is a power actually greater than our ability and our power when we try really, really hard, and that we can rest in that, and then that's freedom, is to rest in that. The Spirit who's alive in us, working in us, He works through faith in Christ, right? And I hope that increasingly we'll have that before us, and we'll just be compelled to think, what's it mean for me to live by that?
Yeah.
Right? To keep in step with the Spirit, as Paul says there at the end.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that too.
Yeah. It's great. It's a good thing we'll never
All right,
graduate.
now you can move on.
Yeah. Sorry. I forgot to look at my sheets here. Clearly.
It's why you need a co-host.
I know. That's right. Resignation. Refuse.
That's right. I'm back, baby.
You're back. Exactly. Sorry. It's more stress, but we need you. We need you in that seat, Abby. So Galatians is done. Now we're moving on to something different. And I don't think that this influenced the decision to move forward, but we're moving on to a book that was consistently people's least favorite book when we asked that question last year.
Is that right?
Did you know that? Yeah. So last year when we asked people, what's your least like what book would you least be likely to find yourself in willingly? This was the answer. So you get to reveal to us what we're...
Yeah. Change some hearts and minds on where we going, Scott. What's next?
Some people are thinking Song of Solomon.
Yeah,
That's not it.
I'm sorry for those who were hoping for that.
But it's a cousin. We are going to Proverbs.
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 Yay.
It's great. Yeah. So as you have a limited number of choices, 66. But there's 66 books, So what made you decide Proverbs? Like what sort of drew your heart and mind to that book for our people right now?
Sure. And some of it is very ordinary and not exciting, but we should name it, right? We like to go Old Testament, New Testament, generally speaking, as much as we can. So it'll be time for an Old Testament. It's about to be summertime. The rhythms of summer are different, such that a book that missing a week because I'm on vacation with my family might not make me feel like I just missed something big. So something that could be a little bit more topical. Proverbs is that. So those are very practical considerations that went into this next book, but also. It's of a genre of those 66 books, like wisdom literature that we together have not done much of. We did Ecclesiastes a bit ago, but haven't done much of. And I personally haven't done tons of it, and I've never preached through Proverbs. And so some of those things too make me said like, well, this is a hole in our sort of coming under Scripture together. So let's try to fill that hole and give our attention to this book.
Mm-hmm. So as we think about going into Proverbs, what would be some like helpful things to put before us as we prepare our hearts to receive what God has for us in Proverbs? Because I got to be honest, when I look at my reading plan and I see that I have weeks of Proverbs ahead of me, I'm like, this is going to require me paying a lot of attention to a lot of different topics thrown at me in one morning.
Yeah.
And also I find it confusing. Like, am I supposed to say a word to a fool or not say a word to a fool? Like, sometimes I'm like, but you just said don't do that. Like,
right.
I hope you clear some of that up.
Well,
but
yeah.
So what would you like for us to think about and know going into this series?
Yeah, so I mean, I think there's a lot of answers to that, right? On the front end, just if it is your least favorite book, say, or a book that you just feel like I don't quite, if you're not excited because we just said we're going into Proverbs, keep in mind that this is a book which, in the section we'll look at this coming Sunday in our introduction, makes an explicit promise to us that it is offering to us a treasure greater than gold or silver or jewels. In fact, greater than anything you could ever desire.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
If you're going to offer
that.
me that,
That's saying a lot.
So that's it. Yeah, Proverbs is hard. I understand why it doesn't make our list of favorites necessarily, but it gives a big promise, and so like it feels like it's drawing us in that way. Another thing too, it's just a name that it is hard, and we should name that. We should know that it's hard. It's if you sit down in a Bible reading plan, especially, and just try to read like chapter 25 is open before me now, straight through, you're going to have like whiplash because it's just like by nature, much of the book outside the first 11 chapters is just statement after statement. The first one not related to the second, not related to the third, and after a while, you can just be kind of like, "What is this? Just is a lot." So. We're not going to read it that way. We will take it topically. We'll spend about 3 weeks in the first 11 chapters, which are introductory and foundational. And then after that, we'll take it basically topically. So we'll look at, Proverbs that talk about how we use our tongues, and then Proverbs that talk about how we spend our money, and Proverbs that talk about how we think about physical appearance, and on and on and on. But we'll think about it topically, which will have us bouncing around through the book versus just reading consistently through it. Those are all, I think, important to know. And then I just think to keep in mind before us too that Proverbs it's an interesting book. So like in chapter 25, which is I think I found it to be one of my favorite chapters, even speaking about them as we just did. You have these statements that are so incredibly just like practical, right? So I'm just read a couple of them here. Proverbs 25, verse 14. Like clouds and wind without rain is a man who boasts of a gift he does not give. It's talking about being people of our word in a pretty clear, wonderful illustration. If you found honey, eat only enough for you, lest you have your fill of it and vomit it. All right. I get it. Like talking about self-control, right? Pretty clear, pretty memorable picture, right?
Yeah,
so
vomiting honey.
I know, right?
I've never done that, but that sounds gross.
But I've eaten enough ice cream that I felt sick, right? I mean, it's like, oh yeah, I kind of already knew that. It's like these incredibly practical tips, right? But then on the other hand, you have places like in Proverbs 3 where we read something like, honor the Lord with your wealth and with the first fruits of all your produce. Then your barns will be filled with plenty, and your vats will be bursting with wine. Which I look at that and I think maybe, is that really true? Like, I know if I eat too much honey, I'm probably going to puke, right? But like, if I'm generous, am I going to be rich? Because that's what it seems to say. Or maybe most famously, right? Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he's old, he'll not depart from it. Really? Like, so if I raise my child into faith. That's a promise he'll never leave the faith. Well, objection, someone will say. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
So like,
because experience might tell me differently.
Yes. Yeah,
So my experience confirms some proverbs, and my experience
Bingo.
also.
Bingo. And so if we read the book as like an analogy I'll use maybe on Sunday, like the Bible's version of the self-help section of the bookstore, right? Like, oh, it tells me how to live a good life. We're going to get super confused. And so when I look at that, I realize this book must not be simply about that. There must be something more than that going on in the book, which all leads to, I think, to find it interesting that in these opening 11 chapters in particular, Proverbs is put before us as a person who woos us and calls us to find life in her, and that person really is typifying to us Jesus. And so just like every other of the 66 books of the Bible, this is a book that ultimately is not just about how to teach us on our own to have a good life, to try really hard and make it work, but it's one that's wooing us to Jesus and to find in him the wisdom of God, true wisdom, like which is really an ability to live and not die in this fallen world.
That makes me want to do Proverbs more.
Absolutely. I'm super excited about
I know. This. Yeah. I am too.
Yeah.
It'll be a good way to spend our summer.
Do you know why? I'm just curious. Why? Like, do people talk about why it was their least favorite book when they...
Yeah, I think you just named it. Like, this weight of like, oh gosh, I have to do all these things, but then I'm confused because I have done some of these things and it didn't turn out right. So it is exactly the word whiplash, I think is such a good, because it's not just whiplash in my attention of this thing, but of my own heart. And that.
I think so. Yeah, that sounds right. And I do think when I feel like one of the things that seemed to come through in those comments was that when we read Proverbs in a Bible reading plan, I'm all for Bible reading plans, but I do think sometimes it kind of creates this sense like, okay, I'm going to read this chapter, I'm reading it, whereas I feel like Proverbs often requires a different way of reading these things. Like we have to kind of slow down. We're not like reading a narrative. And so we really have to kind of stop. Like I think, I know Tim Keller called the Proverbs like the hard candy of the Bible, like he said, you just kind of have to like sort of really put them in your mouth and like, kind of let it melt rather than being like, okay, let's on to the next. And I think that's true. I was super excited about some of the, like the vivid imagery in the Proverbs. Yeah. That's not the only time vomit is mentioned in the Proverbs.
That's what we should have done a game on.
Yes. Yeah.
Vomit imagery in the Bible.
Vinegar on soda.
Oh, man.
Like a golden ring and a pig snout.
Right. We're doing that one. Yeah.
I do have to say, one of my worst parenting moments came from Proverbs because... when Harry was little and would say words he wasn't supposed to say, I would put vinegar on his tongue and I would say, like, vinegar on your tongue, how does that taste? And his poor little face, now that I think back on that, his face was like, ugh. He now has an aversion to many things that have vinegar as their base.
Exactly.
And I look back on that and I'm like, oh man,
I'll take my salad without dressing.
That's right. Ranch only, please. Poor Harry.
Yeah. I am very excited about this.
Yes.
And I feel like this Proverbs will need to make a regular appearance on the podcast in some sense. We can have some fun exploring this.
We can. We will.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to pivot just a little bit as we think about the summer. But as we think about the summer, one of the things that we are entering into is an opportunity for men and women in the congregation to let us know where they see folks around them who demonstrate the character and qualities of being an elder or a deacon. And sometimes it's good to kind of maybe take people behind the curtain and let them understand this process a little bit, because that's something they'll find in the email. So Scott, when you think about this process, explain to someone who, maybe went through the intro signal pres and they heard us mention officers and things like that, but they're still figuring out, okay, how do you become an elder or deacon or a trustee in our congregation? What's that process like?
Right. So we're getting into it right now, and everyone members of the church have an opportunity to participate in it in a couple of different ways. So it all starts with nominations from members of the church, which is that form has been referenced in the email and can be found widely, I hope. But that's an opportunity for people in the church to give to us being a committee of the session, the elders, their insight into people who are already doing the work outside of being in the role. Mm-hmm. So that might be the work of an elder, people who we already see shepherding others well. Maybe they're leading a community group. Maybe, it's your community group leader or your kid's discipleship group leader or whatever else, but you've seen this person doing already the work of shepherding a group of people, caring for them, feeding them, teaching them well. Or maybe it's a deacon or somebody who's already doing the work of a deacon. You see them already serving behind the scenes. You see them already just sacrificially giving themselves so that the work of the church can continue. Well, if that's the case, our committee only has maybe 10 eyeballs, but we need the hundreds and hundreds of other eyeballs to help us see those things and those people that we might consider whether this is a time when God could be calling them to step into that role and to do that work in this role. And so those names will come to the committee because of the congregation bringing them to us. Our committee will look through those names, compare those names to sort of qualities and responsibilities of elder and deacon that we find in Scripture, and we'll invite those who meet those qualifications to enter in basically between midsummer and early winter a training and discernment process where they'll come and they'll talk with us and sit with us as we think together about what an elder and deacon does and how an elder or deacon lives, and think with them about whether or not God is calling them to step into that role at this time or a later time or maybe never. And then at the end of that is when we come back to the congregation just before Christmas with names of those to be elected to these offices for the next 3 years. But all that begins right now. So if you nominate somebody, it's not a guarantee that they're going to be an elder or a deacon. Even if the person goes through the process, it's not a guarantee that they're going to do that now or ever. Our goal is not to fill some slots. We don't have a certain number of slots we're trying to fill. Our goal is to find the people that God has called and gifted for these responsibilities and to give them a path into that at the right time, whether the right time is now or later on. So it's a normal thing that someone will go through this process because they were nominated. They'll get to the end and they'll say, I think maybe God is calling me to this, but not right now. And we'll keep checking back with them over years to come. And we have elders who are serving now after saying not now, but then later on saying now.
Yeah.
Others will say, I just don't think this is the work that God is calling me to. And we say, okay, that's good to know. Let's figure out what the work that God calling you to actually is, and then we'll help connect them with that. So that's how it's going to work. And we really, really need and appreciate like I said, the insight and eyeballs of those who see more than we do.
Yeah. So our encouragement to our listeners is to check your Friday email, comes out tomorrow, and to read about that section and then follow the directions from the Friday email to be able to nominate the man or woman that you see meets these qualifications and is doing this work already.
That's right.
So
yeah,
that's right.
Do it. Yeah, and there is a time where that process will kind of officially move towards people, but really throughout the year we're happy to receive nominations.
Sure.
So someone might come to mind 6 months from now.
We talk about it more right now. But you're welcome to that anytime.
Yeah. So all right, listeners,
all right,
you've been charged. Do it.
But we're going to have a different charge right now.
That's right.
We're going to talk about
charge
summer
your credit card with new books.
I wasn't even thinking about that. Okay, so it's summer, which in theory means that we have a little more time to do things like sit by the pool or sit on the deck or sit on the beach and read a good book. And so we're going to do a miniature book recommendation section. Hopefully we'll have a longer episode at another point with some of our avid
That's right.
book
Those
recommenders.
people who come in, we like need an extra table for them to put their books. You know who you are.
If you know, you know. All right. So, Scott, we would love to hear from you. Give us 2 recommendations of books that you might be reading this summer that we can read too.
All right. One, in relation to what we were talking about with Proverbs, there is, and in relation to somebody Joey mentioned, Tim Keller, who has done great work on Proverbs. So great that Joey has reminded me a couple of times. He said, listen to this after you do your sermon, because if you listen to it before you do it,
he ruins you.
Yeah, you're like, dadgum. But he is also like, some of that work has been distilled down into, it's basically like a devotional book, but still a wonderful read called God's Wisdom for Navigating Daily Life. And I would recommend that. I have that and plan to revisit that over the course of the summer. 2, just on a more enjoyable level, well, enjoyable for me, but probably boring for a lot of people. I love biographies. One of my favorite biographers is Ron Chernow, who wrote like the Alexander Hamilton biography that became the whatever, and they're really long. And so summer is kind of when I tend to read them. Otherwise, it'll take me forever. And he's got a new one on Mark Twain. And
nice. Cool.
It's not like to me, the best biographies are not ones that's like, oh, I love Mark Twain. I have to know more about Mark Twain. It's like, I don't know much about Mark Twain. He's famous. He's probably interesting. And then the biography really makes him come alive and makes you leave saying, I love that guy.
Yeah.
Or I maybe detest that guy, but I know that guy.
But now I know that guy.
And so I'm hopeful that that his new one on Mark Twain will be that for me. So I'm going to take that on vacation this summer and hopefully finish it.
Nice.
It'll be fun.
That's a good one.
Toes in the sand, reading about Mark Twain.
Oh, no. Well, I just save the judgment, right? I know
I guarantee you are not alone.
No.
You're not alone.
No, I probably wouldn't read a biography about him, but I want to know about him. So maybe tell us the high points when you come back.
You know.
The Mark Twain episode.
That's right. All right, Joey, what you going to be reading this summer?
One is a book I've already read that I'd recommend, and the other book is a book that I'm reading. A book I already read is a book called I Cheerfully Refuse by Leif Inger. And Leif Inger wrote Peace Like a River, which is like a really beautiful book. But I Cheerfully Refuse is, I don't read a lot of like post-apocalyptic fiction because like I love it too much, and then it does bad things to my imagination.
You start collecting cans of
exactly
fruits
right.
and
I start
vegetables.
like becoming a prepper or something like that. But it's about like the kind of 30,000 foot without spoiling anything. It's about a man who is kind of on a sea voyage in kind of Lake Michigan, like in a distant future where things have turned bad, not like super bad. But like what I love about books like that, like particularly is like post-apocalyptic fiction books, is they kind of ask like if everything goes bad, like what really matters. And Leif Inger's kind of way it's about music, it's about love, it's about friendship, and it's just like a really cleverly, beautifully written book. So I Cheerfully Refuse by Leif Inger. Mm-hmm. And the other book, which is nonfiction. This is a book that I don't think I would have picked up, but two different people who don't know each other from very different parts of my life, both of whom I respect, like they both shared about this book. And I was like, okay, like if they both like it, it's called Liturgy of the Wild, and it's by Martin Shaw. And it's a book about, Martin Shaw is a professional storyteller, and he like teaches classes on it, like in like universities and stuff like. And it's basically asking the question, like, what are the elements of the stories like, and myths that help us become full human beings? Basically saying like traditional societies have always told stories that give us clues about what it means to live like a full human life. And so it kind of breaks up stories, talking about like stories talk about envy, stories talk about love, stories talk about evil, stories talk about death. And it's really, I'm listening to it. He's the reader, and it's just really, It's just really compelling. It's making me think about things that I haven't really thought about. So,
That's cool.
yeah. What about you, Abby? What you got?
I am reading. I'll finish probably this month or in June, Remarkably Bright Creatures, which was recommended on one of our book podcasts last summer. It is the octopus book. But the reason I'm excited about it is because Netflix came out with a movie. So I like to be able to read a book and then watch the movie. And it also helps me picture the characters because I think like Sally
Field.
Yeah, Sally Field plays the main character, which I just really like her. So, but it's really good. It's a story about more than just the octopus. It is about an octopus, but it's about his, like, he's viewing people through the glass and like putting together the pieces of their lives. And it's a story about love after loss. And I love, it's love after the loss of a child. So it's not a romantic love, which I think is actually a really beautiful. How do we reach for one another in our grief and actually be restored through relationship, which I love to read about. So I'm reading that. And then I'm also reading What Grows in Weary Lands on Christian Resilience by Tish Harrison Warren. And I'm only one chapter in, but like I told Ken last night, I was like, I want to cry because I feel so seen by her, because it's basically like, we focus so much on conversion and like the excitement of being a new Christian. And then we look ahead and we're like, we can't wait to be these older saints who are wise and like the proverb man and woman. But what actually happens in the middle is really important. And the middle often feels like, meh. Like, I'm tired.
Yeah. A lot of laundry.
I raise these kids and I got to do this job and I got a lot of laundry and I got bills to pay and a career that I'm, all the things. So it's really about like, how do we steward our middle years well? So that she says in the first chapter that when we face pain or when we face like things we just don't want to do, we can either numb out, flame out, or go deep. And she says so many times in those middle years, we see people numbing out, just checking out and just trying to get through, checking out their lives, or flaming out. They burn it to the ground in order to be able to start over. And those are such destructive ways to live. But God offers us an opportunity to go deep into him and to find the depth of his wisdom and love and to live from that place, and that these years matter. And being middle-aged myself, I'm excited about learning about that.
Middle-aged podcast.
I know.
She's a beautiful writer.
She really is.
Yeah.
She has a way with words. So I'm excited. So yeah, that's what I'm reading.
Strong Rex all around. Something for everybody.
That's right.
Today.
If you are an octopus lover or you love Tim Keller.
That's right.
Something for everyone.
Something for everyone. All right. Well, the 5-question gauntlet that everyone goes through here on the podcast.
Have you
about prayer.
Have you been on since we started doing these? Have we heard about your prayer life yet?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
Forgot.
Fine.
Can't wait to hear about it again.
Well, maybe it's changed. If not, just remind us.
That's right.
First of all, Scott, what does prayer look like for you these days?
Yeah. Prayer, just in particular on my mind, is my family, like Joey's, is we just had our second high school graduation in 2 years, sending our second son off next year. There's been just a lot of both prayer for him ahead, but just like a lot of reflection and gratitude. What just happened? Like, speaking of being middle-aged,
right.
Both my boys will be gone, and what just happened? So a lot of
You're
gratitude.
about to be the lone male in your house.
I have a dog. A lot of gratitude and prayer for them has been the shape of prayer, especially this season.
That's great.
So tell us your favorite story about prayer, or your second favorite story if you've already shared your favorite.
Yeah, I think, is it just me, or do most of our favorite stories about prayer have to do with seeing the Lord answer those prayers in ways that are clear? And so that's part of the season that I'm in, reflecting on kind of where we are, just to think about prayers that I've made for my sons, whether big prayers or little prayers. And even over the course of the last season, there was just a point in time where I remember just very eagerly and eagerly in the sense of like, I'm desperate and I know it. Yeah. pleading to the Lord about something, and then just seeing even within the week, the Lord just gift me in His kindness with an answer to that prayer. And so just those moments, right? Oh gosh, like, this is real. We're not just talking to the ceiling here, you know? And I know that, but it's sure good to be reminded.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Hardest, most challenging about prayer in this season?
But normally that doesn't happen, right? The normal,
not immediately.
Yeah, not immediately, right?
Yeah.
The normal is that we wait for the harvest over weeks and weeks of seeing nothing happen in that seed that we planted in the ground. And so the endurance and the perseverance, it's hard, which is why the scriptures call us so clearly to do it and don't get weary in it.
Yeah, wouldn't call us to that if that weren't the real temptation. So tell us about someone who's shown you Jesus.
Wow. Is it bad? Is it fair right now to say Solomon from Proverbs? Is that cheating?
No. We've
Okay.
never
That's
had
good.
someone name a biblical. This is the
Boom.
first biblical
Boom.
figure.
All right.
Let's hear about it.
Jesus in the Old Testament, right here, guys.
Yeah, I just think that I have this conviction that, as Jesus said to the two travelers on that road after his resurrection, you know, he opened the scriptures and showed them how they were all about him, and I believe that's true. And I've also found it really hard to know how Proverbs is about Jesus, but as I've gotten into this, and what I'm getting excited about is that actually I think in some pretty clear ways that become pretty compelling, Solomon shows us in ways that he didn't even know he was showing us that Jesus is true wisdom. That if you want a life that works, that it is in Jesus. And so to see that has been just I'm excited about it.
That's great. Last question. Another fact about Scott Bowen that would be interesting to those and surprising to those of us who don't know you super, super well.
You gave me the sheet and I didn't read to the bottom.
I feel like recently you said something and I was like, oh, I didn't know that. I can't remember what it was. But yeah.
I think that some people probably know this, but it remains true. I'm an avid Chicago Cubs fan, and like when I say that, I mean I watch every game that I can, listen to games. If I can't, I'm not tomorrow, I can watch it. I took my boys to Atlanta when they were in Atlanta last week to see a game there.
Oh, that's fun.
Like a little kid at those. I love the Cubs when they do well. Like they were doing really, really well a couple weeks ago. They had two back-to-back 10-game winning streaks. So they won 10, lost a couple, won 10 more. They were just killing it. And it was like, it was such a, I stayed up way too late watching Cubs games. Since then, they've lost like 8 of 10. So not so good anymore. They take you on all the roller coaster, right? But I ride that roller coaster every step, and I love the Cubs.
How did you become a Cubs fan?
Just watching them on TV when I was little.
When you were little?
Yeah. And
WGN,
yeah. The Braves and the Cubs were on every day in the summer, and my older brother chose the Braves, so I chose the Cubs, and never left
looked
me.
back.
Yeah.
I don't know who was broadcasting. He was like the voice on the Braves call, but it was not Harry Carey.
On the Skip Carey, his son, was on the Braves actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but Harry Carey he was great, and
yeah.
So that is hardly. I probably say that a lot, but someone doesn't know that about
That's
me.
right.
That's right.
So, yeah.
I don't think I knew you were that avid of a fan. I know you knew the song
I did know the song, yeah.
because you sang it
What do you say?
in a sermon one time.
Yeah. In my office, there's a W flag hanging on the wall, and that's what the Cubs fly when they win a game
Oh,
at
that's
Wrigley
for
Field.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, lots of baseball to be played this summer. Lots of books to be read. Lots of Proverbs.
Lots of books to be read.
read. Oh my gosh. Lots of Proverbs to be digested like hard candy. Thanks for joining us on the podcast. See you in worship on our single Sunday worship service.
That's right. One service Sunday.
And thanks for listening.
And keep on praying.
Thanks for listening to the Signal Prez podcast. I want to thank our extensive production team, beginning with Matt Broom, sound man extraordinaire.
And thank you to Hannah Sutton and Jackie Carpenter for helping us out with all of our technical difficulties and making it possible for you to listen to this podcast.